an emergency landing.
Well, every passenger aircraft broadcasts a signal based on which all the flight tracking applications work. So we have utilized all the flight tracking applications, and based on that data, we are trying to kind of understand what went wrong with this Ahmedabad London flight. Now, in this picture, you can see the flight path. This is the actual flight path which was broadcasted by this aircraft, 787 Dreamliner. You can see at around 8:50 UTC. So in Indian time zone, it will come down to be 1:38 IST, and just at this time, we will show you the next graphics. See, so at 1:30, the aircraft can be positioned at the middle of the runway. At around 1:38, the aircraft broadcasted its last signal. The last ADSB signal was recorded at 1:38. Now, what is critical, what is crucial here is that the height of the altitude of this aircraft from sea levels was roughly 600 feet. This airport itself is about 200 feet above sea level. And the vertical speed when aircraft lost power, it started to descend. The vertical speed was roughly 400 feet. So you can understand that the pilot had less than 1 minute. The pilot had less than 1 minute to act. During that time, we are given to understand that the pilot broadcasted, sent a major signal, but the unfortunate part in this case was that the pilot virtually had no time. 1:30, the aircraft can be seen at the runway. Takeoff was attempted. The aircraft actually took off. We can confirm using this ADSB signals, and based on these signals, we can confirm that the pilot had virtually no time, less than 1 minute, to do what he has to do. So the pilot broadcasted a major signal to the ATC, and you can see as the runway ended, the aircraft was roughly 400 feet above the ground, 625 feet above sea level, and the aircraft and the passengers had less than 1 minute in this case. It is also important to point out here is that this area is a civilian area. Thankfully, the plane did not land in this densely populated area. From the visuals that we have seen, the aircraft landed somewhere in this area. So in this case, the collateral was kind of limited. We will get to know more once the investigation is complete, but at least based on open source ADSB flight tracking data, we can see that 8 minutes on and above the runway, 400 feet above the ground, 625 feet above sea level, less than 60 seconds. That is the story of Ahmedabad London Air India flight crash.
8 p.m. the takeoff happens. Within 10 minutes, the crash happens. Ankit, stay on with me, and thank you for updating us. These are the visuals on your screen that continue to come in, and we are trying to ascertain further details. Bhaumik Vyas is joining me from the civil hospital. This is in Ahmedabad. Bhaumik, this is where right now the biggest effort will be on to be able to save as many as injured. Can you tell us about the kind of critical injuries that you're hearing about? How many passengers have been brought in, and how prepared is the hospital at this juncture?
बिल्कुल, मैं आपको बता दूं कि अहमदाबाद के पूरी अस्पताल में जहाँ खड़ा हूँ, मैं आपको बता दूं कि जब ये विमान दुर्घटनाग्रस्त हुआ उसके बाद की जो हालात है यहाँ पे, मैं आपको दिखाने की कोशिश करूंगा। अहमदाबाद सिविल अस्पताल में भारी घटना घट रही है, सारे डॉक्टर अधिकारी यहाँ पर पहुंचे। आप देख रहे हैं स्वयं संस्था भी यहाँ पर पहुंचे, जो की मदद करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। यहाँ पर बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो अपने परिजन को ढूंढने आए। पुलिस ऐसे स्थिति को कंट्रोल करने में जुटी है। वहाँ पर आप जो हालात देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पर बताना चाहूंगा कि जिस तरीके से करीबन 50 से ज्यादा लोगों को यहाँ पर लाया गया है, इसके अलावा ये सारे जो आप देख रहे हैं अहमदाबाद सिविल हॉस्पिटल कोविड सेंटर के बाहर से जो डॉक्टर जो वॉलंटियर है
वो भी भूमिका बने रही है हमारे साथ। आप सिविल हॉस्पिटल अहमदाबाद में हमारे साथ बने रहिए। विजुअल्स हम सब इसको रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं। हम जिस तरह से आप भेजते जा रहे हैं सब हम ऑन एयर रख रहे हैं। प्लीज स्टे ऑन विद मी। आई हैव अ बिग न्यूज कमिंग इन। दिस इज फ्रॉम एयर इंडिया। लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, एयर इंडिया has confirmed that the flight from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick was involved in this accident, but there are details now with regard to the passenger list. When it's a Ahmedabad-London bound aircraft, which means international passengers, we are looking at 242 passengers and crew members of the Boeing 7878 aircraft, 169 Indian nationals, 53 British flyers, 1 Canadian national, 7 Portuguese nationals. Injured have been rushed to the nearest hospital where our team of reporters currently are. There is a dedicated passenger hotline number just in case the family or the loved ones intend to be able to call. That number we have put out on the screen, 1800569144. That is sent from the Air India. Air India says it's giving full cooperation to the authorities investigating this incident. More and more details will continue to come in. So 169 Indian nationals, 53 British nationals, 1 Canadian national and 7 Portuguese nationals were on board this aircraft that took off from Ahmedabad and then was en route London. Barely 10 minutes into the takeoff, something went so horribly wrong that a mayday call is sent out, and that is also not enough, and then the crashing happens. Visuals from the civil hospital as well. I'm also joined by Vandana Singh, aviation expert. Vandana, please stay on with me because I want to get an update from the civil hospital. We'll go across to that visuals bombing. आप हमें जो रिपोर्ट बता रहे हैं किस तरह से तैयारी की जा रही है कि जो फोकस होगा अभी वो इमरजेंसी सिचुएशन पैसेंजर्स पे रहेगा। बॉम्बिंग
देखिए, अहमदाबाद के सरकारी अस्पताल में जो ट्रोमा सेंटर है वहाँ बाहर से दृश्य है। यही पर खासतौर पर सारी तैयारियां की गई है। एशिया का सबसे बड़ा है और वहाँ पे जो डॉक्टर जो उनकी मृत्यु को तैनात किया गया है और वेंटिलेटर अभी सीधे यहाँ पे तैनात की गई है। पहली मंजिल से लेकर तीसरी मंजिल तक सारी तैनात है। अहमदाबाद के उच्च पुलिस अधिकारी यहाँ पर जैसे कई एनजीओ में जो लोगों को मदद करना चाहती है, कई ऐसे परिवारों को अपने लोगों से ढूंढ रहे हैं। हम देख रहे थे वहाँ पर डोनर लेकर आए हैं तो किसी को हेल्प की जरूरत है तो हेल्प कर सकते। पुलिस स्थिति को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश कर रही है। आप देख रहे हैं पुलिस स्थिति को कंट्रोल करने की कोशिश कर रही है जिसके कारण किसी को परेशानी ना हो। लेकिन जिस तरह का हालात है, जिस तरह विमान दुर्घटना हुआ उसके बाद से जो माहौल काफी खराब होता है। 11 साल पुराना ये विमान था। 8 साल के बाद फ्लाई करना तो स्वाभाविक है सिस्टम की जिम्मेदारी होती है। लेकिन 12 साल पुराना विमान जिसको ऊपर उड़ाया गया और उसके बाद वो टेकअप करते हुए हुआ तो आप देख रहे हैं कि स्थिति किस तरह है। वहाँ पर बहुत सारे लोग मतलब बहुत भारी भीड़ जमा हो चुकी है।
ये अस्पताल में कितना दूर है एयरपोर्ट से कितना दूर ये क्रैश हुआ उसके बारे में हमें जल्दी से डिटेल्स दीजिए।
बिल्कुल, मैं आपको बता दूं अहमदाबाद एयरपोर्ट से बिल्कुल नजदीक है। ये गांधीनगर करके इलाका है, वहाँ पर ये क्रैश हुआ है। आप खबर देख रहे हैं अहमदाबाद के जो सारे विभाग वगैरह है वो भी यहाँ पर पहुंचे, खासतौर पर एक कोशिश करे लोगों को याकुद्दीन पहुंचे यहाँ पर। याकुद्दीन भाई यहाँ पर याकुद्दीन से क्या हालात है और अभी क्या जानकारी?
अभी बहुत ही एडवर्स है और बहुत ही पीड़ादायक हालत है। बहुत बड़ी तादाद में लोगों ने जान हानि हुई है और इंजर्ड भी है। क्योंकि फ्लाइट जो थी वो रेसिडेंट डॉक्टरों के मदद से गिरी है जिससे अभी कारोबार चल रही है। और हम भगवान से ईश्वर अल्लाह से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि जो लोग ईश्वर है वो किसी से जल्दी भाग्य होता है और जो लोग उनके लिए भगवान उनके परिवार के लोगों को
मिल पड़ेगा याकुद्दीन भाई।
से ज्यादा लोग फ्लाइट में सवार थे। ऐसी बात वहाँ पर मेडिकल ऑफिसर बता रहे थे। 200 से ज्यादा लोगों की टीम हमारी थी। उम्मीद करके आए कि ज्यादा लोग वापस हो गए।
तो ऐसे अहमदाबाद के याकुद्दीन शेख जिन्होंने बताया कि करीबन 200 लोग मतलब जो बात है सामने आ रही है, लेकिन कहना भी मुश्किल हो सकता है जिस तरीके से हालात बने। मतलब मैं आपको बता दूं कि पहले ऐसा लगा था कि बड़ी आग लगी है लेकिन आग नहीं लगी थी। आग लगी तो जैसे पता चला कि प्लेन क्रैश हुआ है, उसके बाद यहाँ पर आप देखिए बड़ी तादाद में लोग मिनिस्टर में पहुंच रहे हैं। अहमदाबाद प्लेन पक्षी में तो कौन घोषित किया है, ये सीधी तस्वीर है, मैं आपको बता दूं। ये सभी लोग कोई अपने परिजन को ढूंढ रहे हैं, कोई अपने बेटे को ढूंढ रहे हैं, मतलब कि पूरी पैसेंजर लिस्ट है। उसके बाद लोगों में अफरा तफरी का माहौल है। मैं आपको बता दूं
there were area, the Meghani Nagar area had both looks like commercial and residential properties too. भौमिक, आप हमारे साथ बने रहिए, विजुअल्स जो आप भेज रहे हैं ऑन एयर है। वंदना सिंह, the aviation expert, continues to be with us. Vandana, I understand it's a developing story, but what is your assessment? That's what I want to understand. That an aircraft with all protocol clearance takes off. Within 8 minutes of that, something has gone so horribly wrong that the pilot is even unable to land and it explodes in this manner.
Yeah, thank you for having me on your show. First of all, my heartfelt condolences because this is heartbreaking. I don't want to say more because I've been commenting this to many other channels and speaking to the civil aviation authorities. Now, what is most important here? You mentioned that it has gone through all the mandatory checks. I question, has it actually gone through all the mandatory checks? You're talking of an 11-year-old equipment. Okay, 11-year equipment is perfectly safe to fly, but question it, did it go through the routine A-checks? A-checks is when, you have a routine, thorough inspection every 400 to 600 flight hours. Was this done? This includes visual inspections. This includes checking for wear and tear of the equipment. This includes lubrication of moving parts. I want to ask, was a minimum A check done on this 11-year-old equipment? Then you have something called a C check, which is a more comprehensive inspection that occurs every 12 to 24 months, which is a detailed inspection of the aircraft systems. Now, when an aircraft which is fully loaded is taking off, was the trim weight balance sheet checked properly? Was it signed off properly? Was it there that there was an imbalance of the aircraft? Could it be that there was some hazardous goods on this aircraft? When I talk about hazardous goods, we talk about cargo aircraft only, and very recently we were talking about certain audits being done on Turkish Airlines. I want to question here us. Is it possible that there was some lithium batteries or something as simple as lithium batteries, as simple as dry ice, as simple as something which is supposed to be DGR, which is cargo aircraft only, is being carried on a passenger aircraft? Was this done? I don't believe the regulatory checks were done in totality. I believe it was.
What happens now? Now that the explosion has happened, there is a rush to ensure as many passengers are safe and alive as would be possible, despite, of course, we can see the gravity of the situation. What happens here, Anna? How do you think the Boeing can get involved? The kind of checks that you're talking about. How does one know what went wrong in this case? Would the black box be able to give out that idea? Do you think there has to be an investigation of certain other kind with regard to the Boeing aircraft itself? Who should be questioned at this juncture right now about what possibly went wrong 10 minutes into the takeoff?
Yes, you are right. First of all, the flight data recorder has to be, this has to be got into proper shape, and this has to be recovered. Once this is recovered, this is going to give the entire background. Then a full investigating team is comprised. They sit and they go through each and every part that is being spoken over there, what could be going wrong over there. Everything is gauged from that, and then the whole thing comes out. I think all of you have seen this movie called Sully, which was boarded aircraft and he landed it on the Miracle of Hudson. But in this case, it's like a jury. It's like a jury. These are the experts who sit down and they investigate each and every bit what is on the flight data recorder. And that reveals actually what went wrong. We are here sitting here outside as experts to let you know that when an aircraft is taking off with full fuel weight,
Correct.
because it is now going on a long haul flight, of 8.5 to 9 hours to NHR. And here you are in a situation when you're fully loaded, then there is something definitely which is wrong. And what could be wrong is that there has been a miscalculation in my view.
What kind? What kind?
Balance sheet which declares okay, this is the amount of cargo in the flight, this is the amount of the baggage on the flight, this is the weight, volume, discrepancy. Is there a proper record of that? Was it checked properly or was it casually signed off? Or was there a misdeclaration?
Do you think we would be looking at other angles as well? I'll take your view. I'll take your view as an expert about what the kind of problems that could have happened. Before we go to the visuals on our screen as well, that there could be other issues here. Did something hit the aircraft while the takeoff was happening? Was there in any other technical failure or issues as well? All of that will have to be looked at as well. So there could be multiple theories coming in right now.
Absolutely, there would be multiple theories coming in right now. We hear that one of the landing gears, one of the wheels was stuck on one of the buildings on top. And the question is, if that be the case, was the landing gear even closing? That is why I'm talking about maintenance. Is Air India, or for that matter, Indigo, whichever equipment it is, are they doing the mandatory checks on time? Or is it that कि ज़्यादा important है कि हम समय पे लैंड करें और समय से पहले निकले और समय और लैंड करें टाइम पे? Is that important or are these things important?
I request you to please share with me valuable inputs and expertise that's coming in right now in India today, and we are ensuring to maintain the sensitivity, the gravity of the situation that's there, to be able to put out what we can confirm to you. The latest visuals on your screen. Look at that. They've circled this for you. It appears that one of the buildings in the vicinity, in the Meghani Nagar area, was also hit. Now, what exactly happened? If a Mayday distress signal is sent out to the ATC and then no response, what happened that the landing, even on an emergency basis, could not happen? That clearly means that there was not enough time. Home Minister Amit Shah has put out a statement on social media site X. I quote him here: "Pained beyond words by the tragic